All right, you ready to go?
If we have to.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Welcome to another episode of the Stallone Podcast Network. This is where myself, Doug, and Craig, we talk about a Stallone movie that is not Rambo or Rocky. So basically, all the movies that suck.
Just it's starting to feel like that, man. It's starting to feel like that.
Well, we are scraping the bottom of the barrel, guys. We've discussed this on the last few episodes where, yeah, I mean, what do we have left? I don't know.
Well, can we talk about, first of all, how shocking the results of this poll was? For people that are listening that don't vote in the polls, most of the time we'll put up two movies and you guys decide what we watch. And this month it was Bullet to the Head versus Rhinestone. And I remember, Ryan, you were like, I don't know why we're bothering. Rhinestone's going to win this by landslide.
A landslide.
And it ended up shocking all of us.
Yeah, so Bullet to the Head won by 2 votes.
This shows the importance of voting, people.
Voting has consequences.
Make Stallone great again. Make Stallone great again.
You know what, Ryan, though? I think I voted. I could have swung that.
Oh.
I voted on my personal Mr. Craig Cohen Twitter account.
Right.
I could have gone over to the Slycast page on Twitter and voted there. And then I could have also done a Facebook vote. So would all 3 of those votes have counted?
Yeah, well, they would have counted. I don't see who votes regarding the Twitter poll.
Oh, right, yeah.
I don't. Yeah. Speaking of which, I'm back on Facebook. There's a couple reasons why I'm back on Facebook. One, because I need the attention. Two, no. Two, yeah. Two, I miss Doug's. You know, the first thing I saw when I went back on Facebook, I saw freaking Doug and his handsome, stature, standing next to his beautiful fiance, and I'm like, man, this is the stuff I miss, just seeing Doug and his beautiful wife-to-be and his tattoos and his big guns, and I'm like, anyways, yeah, I know. No, the other thing was I always offload on my on Doug or Katie from the One More Round podcast, like, can you post this? Can you post this? And I'm like, that's part of it. So I think it was this poll, actually. The poll, I was like, you know what? I kind of miss interacting with the Rocky or the podcast listeners. Yeah, I don't know. I miss that, I admit, and it's just... Yeah, anyways, I'm back on Facebook. I hate it. I feel dirty. I feel dirty, anyways.
It's not bad taking a break from stuff like that every once in a while.
It actually did feel good to take a break. That's the thing. It's kind of good to be back and touching base with a few people, and I posted a couple pictures. I was like, oh yeah, I forgot that person existed when they liked my photo. But it was, I'm not even joking. But that being said, I missed the interaction with the listeners on the podcast pages. So it'll be good to do that again.
Anyways, are you talking about your green screen picture of your jog today?
Dude, that's a real photo, man. That's legit.
I know.
But it's funny when I looked at the photo, I was like, that kind of looks like a backdrop, I know.
It's just so beautiful out there. It looked too good to be true.
That's amazing.
Actually, that reminds me of something, Ryan. I can't imagine there's anybody that listens to this that doesn't listen to your Rambo podcast. But you recently posted on, I think, most of your or all of your social media, you and your dog jogging in the woods, the First Blood woods.
Yes. Well, no, the First Blood like woods, because it's the same geographical type location. Like, no, I don't live near.
You weren't out in Hope then,
but it's Pacific Northwest type woods, is what I was trying to say. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
The same region.
Yeah. The day will come that I am going to go to Hope, British Columbia, because that's an easy trip for me, and I'll definitely plaster that for sure when I go.
Well, good. I was going to say it's a good thing you didn't have your army jacket on and maybe some scruff.
Yeah.
Looking like a vagrant.
And I was saying you're going to go to Hope, but, Philadelphia gets the middle finger still, huh?
Yeah. Well, no offense to Philly, but Hope is so much more better than Philly.
I don't think you're going to get any arguments here.
Oh, man, there's no, dives in the forest. Oh, man. Okay, well, we're belaying the point here. We're doing it, guys. Bullet to the Head, 2012 Bullet to the Head, starring Sylvester Stallone, Walter Hill, directed film. Walter Hill, the incredible director of the 70s and 80s. Before we get going, actually, Doug, was this the first time you saw the film before this podcast?
The very first time. You guys are, opening night in the theaters type folks, but I don't go to the movies. Most of these Stallone films, I'll catch if I see it on Prime or, HBO right. or something, but HBO Max. I don't go to the movies to see, especially opening night type viewings like you guys do.
Craig, did you see this in the theater?
I'm pretty sure. I mean, Doug just said it. I'm pretty sure I saw this on opening night. If not, it would have been the next day. I mean, this was a movie that I remember being pretty interested in seeing, because I don't know if you remember. I remember a lot of the promotional materials for this had, the shirtless, tatted up Sly in the bathhouse scene. I think they used that picture with him with his arm extended with the gun. I think that was used in a lot of the promotional materials for this movie. It was just marketed well. I mean, it was. I think it was also coming off of the excitement of The Expendables, so it kind of felt like Sly had hit his groove again.
Right. So
I remember being really interested in seeing this one, and I enjoyed it a lot more in theaters than I did sitting down to watch it for this podcast.
Okay, we're gonna definitely get to our feelings on it. Okay, yeah, I saw this not in the theaters. It came out in 2012. I'm trying to think of what was going on in my life at that time. Just busy with my family. This was when I was in the States working with the United States Navy from 2011 to 2015. I think I just had a new baby then. Yeah, we actually just had a new baby in December of 2011, so I suspect I was between work and baby life. I just didn't see movies in the theater. Movies in the theaters at the time very often. Yeah, so I saw this on I actually bought the DVD. I do recall now. I bought the DVD without ever seeing the film because I knew, I was going to watch it anyways, and it was almost just as inexpensive to buy the Blu-ray as it would have gone to go to the movie with a bag of popcorn. So I bought the Blu-ray and I watched it. I lent it to a friend, and I never asked for it back. So I had
that's telling.
And I'm amazed that he didn't try and force you to take it back.
No, well, he
man,
never
I really
watched
need
it.
to give this back to you.
He never watched it. He still has it 7 years later.
In the pre-show, we were kind of talking about Doug's 12-year-old. While we're on that train of thought, I just got to say that this movie overall, it feels like a movie that was made by a bunch of 12-year-olds. Everything from the overall plot to the editing, a 12-year-old would be like, oh, what's a cool way for a guy in a hotel room to be partying, Overall, the whole movie, everybody involved in this is too good to produce what I'm watching. It was kind of a drag.
Okay, so there's our first time experience and our recent experience watching the film. So I actually was lucky enough; it was available for me on Amazon Prime here in Canada. So I got to watch without any additional cost up here in Canada.
It was on Netflix for a while, and I remember there were even articles like, this 10-year-old Stallone film is in the top 10 on Netflix. I think we even talked about it on one of the podcasts. And now it's gone, of course.
Yeah. Well, if you live in Canada, if you're listening and you're a Canadian citizen, feel free to watch it on Amazon Prime. Yeah. So the box office total for this movie was a whopping $23 million. It had a budget at about $50 million. So it lost $20 to $30 million.
Was it another classic issue of marketing, or did nobody want to see it?
I think probably a bit of both regarding word of mouth marketing. Here's the problem. So the film's not very good. That's part of the problem. And so when you have a film that's not very good, word of mouth just gets around. People are like, just don't bother. Why would you bother?
Listen, I'm going to say this because it's very fresh in my mind because two shows at the moment are covering it on our feed. But Con Air is not very good. But that was huge box office.
But that's got look at the cast of Con Air. So let's imagine that Stallone is the Nick Cage of Con Air and Bullet to the Head. Con Air has so many other people going on. You've got that John Malkovich. You've got Steve Buscemi. You've got Danny Trejo. You've got Dave Chappelle. Here, you've got a way past his shelf date Christian Slater. As much as I know we've talked offline about our mutual love of Christian Slater, but here he was a wasted character. I got to say that I think Ryan... and maybe you guys will or will not agree with me, I think if you take out Sung Kang, who is the cop in this movie, and put a stronger actor in that role, can you imagine Jason Statham in that cop role? What kind of movie this could have been?
Well, do you know who they were supposed to have at the beginning, or who they did have? Thomas Jane.
See, right there. I mean, for me, as much as I loved Sun Kang in Tokyo Drift and the other Fast and the Furious movies, right, I just thought he sucked in this movie. Lazy delivery. His character, he barely seemed like a cop.
Yeah, I was noticing his reactions to certain things, watching Stallone actively murder people, and he was pretty emotionless on his face, which
he was in shock.
Probably
he was in shock.
A normal. It would shock a normal cop, but he just kind of just like, looks disapprovingly at him. Yeah.
And he would say stupid shit like, after this is done, I'm going to take you down.
Yeah.
I mean, how do you even do that?
It's funny because like he was riding high during the thick of the Fast and the Furious thing because he was a fan favorite.
I think that was more the character than the actor.
Yeah, but I would think that it would translate a little bit. When I was looking at the opening credits and stuff, and every name that popped up, I was like, wow, this is a pretty loaded movie. And then it really just kind of didn't pay off. It fizzled like really quickly, which it surprises me because this is the type of role that we're kind of begging from Stallone. Bad guy, like a ruthless kind of character, no morality character. Ryan, we talked about a gangster, him playing a gangster.
Yeah, okay. Before we get to that, I do want to talk about that. It definitely was in the front of my mind. Rewatching this for the first time, in 10 years, I'd forgotten that Sly tackled a bad person because I've bemoaned the fact that he's waited so long to do this. And watching this, we might as well talk about it now. Watching this performance, he plays a hitman. There's nothing good about him in the sense of he is a... he killed a cop. Now, this cop might have been corrupt to some degree, but he wasn't that corrupt. He was just, he was the idea. He was a kind of corrupt cop, but he killed cops. He killed, actually more than one cop, and he was at the very least a very questionable type of morality even within the film. But he's a hitman for hire, so he's probably killed people that maybe didn't deserve death. But he's a hitman, and he gets money and kills people. So, on the surface, if I were to hear about this being made today, let's just say today, Stallone signing on to play a hitman for hire, I would be like, that's awesome. Mm-hmm. Tom Cruise did it in Collateral, right? And I hate to say it, Tom Cruise, obviously, very good actor. And he just nailed that role in Collateral and playing a bad guy. And I know Stallone can do it, and I'm really hopeful with Tulsa King. I've talked about it many times in my other podcasts. I'm very hopeful with the proper writing and directing that Taylor Sheridan can do, that we're going to get that bad type character or the badness that Stallone can do. But the problem with this film, it was uneven. And going back to Thomas Jane, I want to go back to him really quick because this talks about the unevenness of the film. The first director was Wayne Kramer.
Who did an excellent movie. I didn't know that. Wayne Kramer did an excellent movie with Paul Walker called Running Scared.
Yes, correct.
And I think he also did a movie called The Cooler.
Yes.
With William H. Macy, I think.
Yeah, right.
He's a phenomenal director. Oh my God, this movie would have been so good.
Okay, well, do you want to hear what happened here? So Thomas Jane was brought in to play the part that went to Sun Kang, who played the Detective Kwan in the film. But Wayne Kramer and Stallone butted heads. Wayne Kramer wanted a dark film, the one that me as a fanboy wants from Stallone. A dark, gritty, dirty film, kind of like Narc or Collateral, as we were talking about earlier. And Stallone's like, nope, too dark. I don't want that. And fired Wayne Kramer. So Thomas Jane, ironically, suggested to Stallone, hey, why don't you hire Walter Hill? And Walter Hill and Sly, they've kind of skirted working together for like 30-odd years because they're the same lawyer. So they finally hooked up. So Hill took over the directing duties. Then Joe Silver came on board because Hill was on board. And then Thomas Jane, was subsequently fired from the job by Joel Silver.
Thanks for nothing.
Yeah, exactly. He was fired because Joel Silver wanted a
hot, young
Asian guy tapping into the Fast and Furious franchise and also tapping into the foreign market. To Joel's credit, he recognizes that Sly starred, though he's Sly, it's the foreign market. So he was hoping that, and Sly has had a lot of films lately where which is fine that they're Asian actors, but we kind of know that that's used a little bit as a foreign box office anchor, right? Sun Kang came in. I mean, he's a harmless actor in many ways, but like you said, he's very unassuming in this film. So anyways, poor Thomas Jane. I just find that whole connection very interesting that, yeah. So the fact that Stallone and Kramer originally didn't get along ended up being the reason why Thomas Jane was let go of the project.
And if you trace it back, this could be one of the series of unfortunate events that led to him turning up in Money Plane.
You and Money Plane.
I'm just saying, like, Thomas Jane is too good of an actor for Money Plane, which is a movie we are going to talk about on this podcast at some point.
Oh, my goodness.
Ryan, you just rocked my world with the idea of a Wayne Kramer, Thomas Jane as the cop version of this movie, and it's pissing me off a little bit.
It should. Well, it should. And I love Sly, but his inability to go full dark is weird to me. Why? Like, Cruise did it. Just do it for one film. You don't have to do it for every. You just play a bad guy. Think of every actor you've ever known. The big ones. I'm talking about the big ones. Even Paul Newman in Road to Perdition. In his later years, he played a mafia guy. He was a bad person in that film. If I was an actor, I'd find it very fun and interesting to tackle the bad guy every now and then.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, you would show the range to, the world who thinks that you're like a one-trick pony. You could just say, like, no, look what else I can do. We know that the buddy cop opposite attract formula works.
That's actually a formula that Walter Hill kind of helped innovate with 48 Hours.
Right.
That was one that comes to mind. Lethal Weapon, even like the Rush Hour movies. It works when you have that dynamic. But was it Stallone or was it Sung Kang or was it they had no chemistry together?
No.
I guess chemistry between actors is a lot too.
Walter Hill said he wanted to create the anti-buddy cop film, which makes no sense.
No. And that's the problem. When people take these types of movies too seriously and try to, again, back to Con Air, like the people who made Con Air knew exactly what kind of movie it was. And they played into every action stereotype, every goofy trope that you can think of, and they put it in that movie. Instead of trying to take it too seriously and make it something it's not. Why? Why are you trying to make it something it's not? Just why make it the anti-buddy cop movie and make it a buddy cop movie?
In all fairness, or with all due respect to Walter Hill, who is a legend, he has not been batting to his potential in decades.
Right. No, he hasn't. So Walter Hill, I haven't seen a lot of his films other than 48 Hours. I haven't even seen The Warriors, to be honest with you. Mm-hmm. That might be a movie worth reviewing on our podcast feed, because I think that's one I would like to investigate, because I've heard a lot about it. But so Walter Hill, he actually said, without saying it, I'm paraphrasing here, so bear with me. I read some interviews with him regarding this film. He basically said Sly is Sly, and that you can't really direct him at this age and stage in his career. So even Walter Hill, even though he's older and he's been directing for decades compared to Sly, he basically said he wanted to work with Sly. It was always something he wanted to do, so he got to work with Sly, but he didn't really direct Sly. All he told Sly is that he kind of wanted what would Sylvester Stallone be like if he was a hitman? So that's why it's kind of disjointed a little bit. It's Sly just being Sly if he was a hitman.
I think Creed almost discounts that, because we know that Rocky is Stallone's character, but we've seen Rocky in a lot of different Rocky movies. And what Ryan Coogler got out of him, either with the story that he told in Creed, Ryan Coogler directed Stallone in that movie. I wouldn't take anybody else's word on that. I mean, it's clear as day.
But that's what I mean is Walter Hill didn't direct. He didn't have the fire to do it. Yes, agreed. It was almost like I'm Walter Hill directing the Stallone. It was like I think everyone's just dialing it in.
You just got me thinking about something, Ryan, too. You said this is what would Sly be like as a hitman. Doesn't it seem like every character he plays outside of Rocky and Rambo, who you look at those characters, you don't see Sly, you see Rocky and you see Rambo, but it seems like every other movie that he's done, he's just Sly doing a part.
Other than the odd one, like Copland or something, but yeah.
Right, or Cliffhanger, but you can't separate the character from the man.
Yeah,
in a lot of these throwaways.
And I'm not trying to harp on Sly, because this is what happens when you have any kind of podcast dedicated to one actor. You start to see the patterns that repeat. I mean, we could say the same thing about Jack Nicholson, Burt Reynolds, Clint Eastwood. I mean, a lot of these actors who Charles Bronson. I mean, a lot of these manly man actors type thing. That's kind of that's their shtick, and that's okay. That's the wheelhouse they play in. That's where they've made their bread and butter. I get it. I guess what's frustrating. We've said it many times on the show, but if you're listening to this episode because you're a huge Bolt to the Head fan, it's frustrating because we know what Sly can do. And that's why I'm very hopeful with the Tulsa King. This is something out of his wheelhouse. This is a actual real production. This is not a slouch of a writer. This is a guy that's done the Yellowstone series, 1883, Mayor of Kingstown. This is a real deal creator. So the fact that he's taken Sly on and Sly's agreed to this, I would suspect he's going to bring his A game. What do you guys think? What are your guys' thoughts or hopes for this Tulsa King? Am I the only one excited?
Everything I've seen I have a bit of a blind spot with his TV work, but Hell or High Water,
Right.
Wind River,
Yep.
legit modern classics. Wind River, probably the best performance that Jeremy Renner's ever had. I mean, and Hell or High Water, I mean, he just had two great talents there with Chris Pine and Ben
Foster.
Yeah, I mean, that's just a tremendous performances on both ends. I know a lot of people that really, really like Yellowstone, and I just haven't gotten into it yet, just based on the two movies. Yeah, I mean, I'm curious to see, and then also like to see Sly in like a long-form story.
You remember the time when AMC could do no wrong? Like when they put out monster after monster, those
Right.
TV shows, Mad Men, Walking Dead.
Yeah.
I kind of feel like that's how Sheridan is.
Oh, Sheridan himself. Yeah, he's amazing.
Yeah, himself. He like everything he touches turns to gold. Like I do have high hopes going into this Tulsa King show, and God, I hope we don't end up with egg on our face over this one. But
Well, I need a co-host to. I'm reviewing each even just like a mini episode, 20-minute review of each episode. So I don't know if you guys would be on board for that, but I'd
Absolutely.
Okay, all right. So welcome to another episode of the Taylor Sheridan podcast. Let's get. Well, we got to get back to this bull to the head.
why don't we catch up on the discussion before we jump into the movie first? There's a
Oh, sure. Go ahead and
There's
read
a
a couple
few
things. You can read it.
notable-
I'll look at my next note here, and I'll edit accordingly for the release.
You drinking coffee, Ryan? Mm-hmm. Yeah, wow.
Why wouldn't I?
I have like a no coffee after like 12 noon type of rule.
I can drink it right till 8 o'clock at night.
For you, man.
Things here.
Louis says, Danny Trejo's book, he says that damn near all the male actors on Con Air essentially turned everything into a competition, but it was all in good fun. Every day was a pissing contest. I can imagine when you got that many bangers on one movie that everybody wants to steal the show.
Oh, yeah.
He also says he didn't care for Thomas Jane, didn't even like him as Mickey Mantle, even though he looks just like him.
Oh, wow.
That was a great movie. I actually liked him in 61. What else really has been in of note? The Mist.
He was in that
I don't know
sci-fi
what-
TV show called The Expanse.
Okay.
It was very popular on the Sci-Fi Network, but I like Thomas Jane. I think he's all right. I think he's a pretty good. He's a solid actor. Like when he's on screen or in a project, it's not very often that you're like, oh, he's terrible. You know what I mean? Other than Louisa's comment there. Here's the quote. I found the quote here about Walter Hill regarding Stallone. He says, Walter Hill told Stallone, quote, to play things more casually in the film. I wanted him to play his natural personality as much as possible. He's a very engaging guy. I told him, I'm not interested in you inventing the character as much as imagine yourself as a character. He went right with that.
It's an incredibly lazy performance.
No, you're right. That's just a fancy way of saying dial it in.
Was this another one of those movies where they only had Sly for, a week and
No,
they had to get
I
all
didn't get any of that. I think Sly was there for the shoot kind of thing. I think it was a pretty full shoot. He was in a lot of scenes. I suspect it was probably a couple months at least, yeah.
And I'm sure we'll start doing a sequential sort of tiptoe through this movie. There's one sequence in this movie that makes the whole thing worth watching, and you have to wait till the end for it.
Do you have a plot there, Doug? Do you have your plot?
I started to write one, and then I kind of gave up because I didn't give a shit anymore.
Okay, so the movie opens up with these two hitmen they're hired to hit or kill a corrupt police officer, correct? So they kill the police officer, and then Stallone's character, Jimmy Bobo. Want to go any comments?
Great name. Loved it.
So there's a whore. Sorry, I got to use a bad word. Whore. There was a whore in the bathroom having a shower, cleaning herself up after her time with the cop. And
No, she hadn't been with him yet.
oh,
Yeah,
that's right.
He was
about
cleaning
to
up
get laid.
before her time with him.
What a
From her last trick.
Talking about that actress real quick, did she look different in the shower than at the police station?
She had clothes on
Oh,
at the
no.
police station.
She looked different, and I swear she had a different accent.
I thought it was a different actress. Not different actress. I didn't know it was the whore that they were talking to. I thought it was just like another...
No, it was the same whore. It was.
Can we talk about that hit, though?
Yeah, we are.
I mean,
keep going.
hopefully you guys have listened to the run of shows I did on Pulp Fiction.
I've listened to everything.
Well, you were a guest as well. But Ryan, didn't that feel like poor Pulp Fiction cosplay almost.
Yeah, so that's right. And they have the little dialogue. Yes, right. So they're driving their car and they're having a little dialogue on the way to the hit. Exactly. Good. I didn't even make that connection, but now that I'm seeing
And the guy with like the Vincent Vega haircut.
Right.
Oh man.
Yeah. Good point. Sly in this film, you know how Mel Gibson has that charm with his jokes and stuff, or Kurt Russell? Sly can't do that.
No.
As the Rocky character, yes, very good, great subtle humor. Cloud, what cloud, or whatever. Can't sing or dance. He's it's that adorable type humor. But when he's just trying to be funny with his quips, they never land. I'm never like. In this movie, was every line that was supposed to be funny or played for humor. I didn't laugh. Did you guys laugh?
No. Wow, the whore was credited as Lola.
That's right.
Lola, which is a whore's name.
It is a whore's name.
Sorry to all the Lolas out there.
She was not credited as Russian whore.
Okay, so she was in the shower, and Bobo, played by Stallone, he didn't kill her because of the panther tattoo or jaguar.
It reminded him of his daughter, who was merely there as a plot device to get taken hostage.
What was the tattoo connection, though?
She had the same panther.
But what does that mean?
It just reminded him of his daughter's tattoo.
But they both had the same literal tattoo. That just happened to be the whore in the shower and the
whore in the tattoo parlor
and Stallone's daughter whore.
No, her mother was a junkie whore, not her.
Oh, right. I get my whores mixed up.
Here's the thing. So that was it? They just have the same tattoo?
Yeah. Seeing the whore's tattoo reminded him that his daughter has a similar tattoo.
And she was also a tattoo artist in general.
That's so stupid. That's the reason why their life was spared.
It didn't serve any purpose. I guess it was supposed to be character development, or it added a little bit of depth. It showed that even though he was a lousy father, he still had feelings for his daughter that was mothered by a junkie whore.
Yeah. Okay, I thought there was going to be some sort of callback to it, to the tattoo in general, but all it was that Quan, when he sees...
He does some detective work, quote unquote.
So that whore goes to the police station, and then she says to the cops, it was 2 hitmen. So that was it. That was the last of her character. She gets the description out, and that's kind of how they find out about the 2 hitmen. They go to a bar.
I think you're missing a big piece, right? When do we get the whole Jimmy Bobo, arrested 26 time things, and we see all the pictures of Sly in all his different acting roles?
Yeah, why did we get a picture of John Rambo? That was really bad. Like, really?
Such an iconic John Rambo picture.
Yeah.
They should have just showed Rocky breaking thumbs at the docks while they were at it. Like,
that picture of Rambo took me right out of the movie.
Yes.
Like I wasn't all in as it was, but that picture took me right the f*** out. Sorry.
It was almost like a reminder of, like, remember when Stallone had good movies? That's what it felt like.
Yeah. Louis says this whole horror conversation is podcasting excellence. I would submit that it's a low point in podcasting.
To a drinking game.
Yeah, drink every time we say horror.
Then you'll be drunk enough to become one.
Yeah, I think, Ryan, you were saying they end up at a bar after the hit.
And then Aquaman comes on screen.
But then we also get the stupid double bullet bourbon bullshit.
Yeah, he brings his own drink to the bar type thing. What's that all about?
Well, yeah, that was later on, but he's so into bourbon, he can only drink a certain kind.
Bullet it's a decent bourbon, but it's not anything near top shelf.
No, you know what it was, Doug? For whatever reason, the month they filmed that movie, that's what Sly had a hard-on for.
I was just going to say... I was just going to say... When he smokes cigars on screen, like Arnold, or when he drinks on screen, that's just Sly being like, I'm getting paid to have my bourbon on screen. Absolutely. He probably has some sort of connection with the Bullet Company to get that on screen. I guarantee they probably slid him something under the table to promote the whiskey. And did you notice he had that lollipop? That freaking lollipop.
From the Rocky Director's Cut documentary. Yes. I'm so glad you mentioned that, because I would have forgotten. Yeah, in the scene where the daughter's taking the bullet out of Quan, he's got the lollipop.
That's just Sly in between takes, like, we have to get a couple shots of you, Sly. You're the dad, or you're here watching your daughter take the bullet out of Quan. We just need you on set for a couple shots. Sure, he's just sucking on his lollipop thing that he does. That just shows you proof, because he did that during that Rocky IV documentary behind the scenes stuff. That's his working lollipop snacky thing. So that's just proof that he's dialing it in. He's just like, I'm snacking right now. Go ahead and film me. Yeah.
So the bar scene, we get the introduction of Jason Momoa, which I can't imagine that these two guys are great hitmen if they didn't clock him immediately.
Yeah, brooding in the corner.
I mean, just a guy that size.
He's a big boy. He's bigger than Doug, I think.
He's about 6'7".
Yeah. I'm not a huge Jason Momoa guy. I mean, I enjoy his flicks. He did a movie called Braven, which is sort of like a riff on First Blood without the cops. The scenes he was in this movie were the only scenes that really had any kind of excitement to them. I think the bathroom scene here, where after he shanks the Vincent Vega guy, Sly's drying his hands and he sees the reflection of Jason Momoa come in. What was his name? It was Keeler or something? I don't even remember. Keegan. He sees him come through and he's like, "What's up?" And then he hears the knife. I thought that was a pretty good little sort of tussle. I thought it was decently shot, and I think it set him up as the main bad guy, and it was one of those things where it was like, okay, cool, at the end of the movie we're going to see Sly kill this guy.
I totally agree that Jason Momoa was the best part of the film. He's, of course, Aquaman. That's what he's famous for now. Amongst others, he's on a Apple TV series, which is very successful, called See. So he's doing very well for himself. But this is what I mean. Jason Momoa was playing a bad guy, and he embraced the bad guy. He was a dick, and he embraced it. And he did a great job. I don't know why it's so. And then he could still play superhero.
No, I thought he was great. I thought, like, when we first saw him, that he was going to be like the silent menace type. But he had a lot of dialogue, and he acted just like a normal dude with a serious mean streak. I thought he nailed it. He was the best part of this movie.
It was supposed to be, a double cross. The dirty cop stole information, right? Or he had information that led back to Christian Slater. Sly and Vincent Vega were hired to kill the dirty cop, and then Momoa was hired to kill the hitman, right? Do I have the breakdown of the double cross prop? Is that accurate?
This is what we got. I don't remember where the first bit of the exposition dump is. This is what we got. The cop that was killed in the hotel room, his name was Greeley. He gave some guy named Baby Jack an evidence file for safekeeping.
Oh, right. That's right. Yeah.
The evidence file had evidence that this guy... The African guy. Did you guys see Oz? Remember Adebisi in Oz? Did you guys watch that show?
No, but I'm very familiar with the prison drama. But I know...
he was awesome in that show.
Yeah, but I remember from Lost. That's what I know from the show Lost.
Oh, okay. Yeah. He's like an entrepreneur businessman from Africa, and he was buying up property in Washington, D.C. to tear down and build like housing projects. In order to get that land, him and some corrupt politicians made backdoor deals. Now, this corrupt cop had evidence of that, and that evidence that implicated congressmen and senators and judges and stuff. Adebisi, I don't even remember his name in the movie.
Right. I think it was like Morale or something.
Yeah. And they made him disabled for some reason as well.
Yeah, that was odd.
Yeah, but I felt like he got more disabled as the film went on. He had like one cane at the beginning, and then he was like almost like a quadriplegic by the end of the film. He started walking like Stephen Hawking at the end there. Anyways,
no, but wasn't it land they were doing in New Orleans? The whole end of the movie, Jason Momoa gives that whole speech about this building was saved in 1910 by a bunch of firefighters, and now it's going to be torn down and turned into condos.
Yeah, that was part of the government contract that Adebisi got. Since this cop was going to blackmail this guy, so he hired the guy who, not Sly and Sly's partner, but the boss.
Oh, the guy that he kills in the Turkish bath.
Yes, yeah.
He's like their handler.
So Adebisi paid that guy who hired Stallone and his partner to go take care of the corrupt cop and get the No, were they supposed to get the file? Or they were just supposed to kill him?
They were just supposed to kill him. So it doesn't make sense to me that they would have been like, we need to get rid of those hitmen, because you're dealing with a guy who's they established that Sly's been he's been a career criminal. It doesn't seem like you need to tie up that loose end. They didn't care what they were killing him for. They just knew they were hired to kill him. The double cross didn't make any sense. It's cracking me up.
There's something I want to show you, because this is the best line in the whole movie. You ready? It's for you.
Oh, no.
You're a cop, right?
There you go. That's for you, Doug.
Well, yes.
I don't know. I saw that. I saw that watching it. It's like, hey, it's perfect. Finally, it's come full circle.
Sly's been listening to the podcast.
That's why Sly's been listening. He's asking Doug, you're a cop, right? I don't know. I was waiting for that moment for you. There was one funny line in the movie where Sly's character says something about, are you going to do something about it, or are you just going to bore me to death? I don't know. I thought that was one funny line in the film. Whatever the character was exposing, whatever, and so Sly goes, are you just going to bore me to death, or are you going to fight, type thing, with the talk.
There was something, too, when he was talking to Quan. Mm-hmm. I think it was in a car. He dropped, like, a hard F-bomb on one of his lines that cracked me up. I can't remember what it was. See, this is how unmemorable this movie is.
Fuck you. Come on.
That one?
Oh, it wasn't that one. No.
Yeah, what was the obsession? I guess this was 10 years ago, but the whole smartphone conversations, like, I thought it was half the film, talking about how, you got that on your phone? You got that on your phone? Like, you just Google it. it.
Well, what was the phone call he kept making? A quick...
Yeah.
Well,
it's right here. We'll play the scene a little bit here. There's one of the scenes here. Here's one of the scenes in the car where basically you have Quan. He's doing all the detective work on his phone where he's asking for help for people to Google things.
A quick search or something?
A lawyer named Marcus Baptiste. I heard of him. Seen his name in the paper, big shot type. We'll see.
This is right when they show the newspaper article itself, was right out of like the early 90s.
Oh, speed check.
Check, yeah.
All right, thanks.
He hangs the phone. He asks for his department to get a speed check. Doug, you're a cop. Do you ever do speed checks?
I mean, there's a databases that we can like get information from, but not the stuff that they get in movies. The information that they get at a few clicks of a computer mouse is ridiculous.
Yeah, speed check. I love it. Google was just kind of up and coming 2012. Wasn't that new then, was it? 2012?
No.
But they seem to be obsessed with the whole smartphone thing. It was a BlackBerry because he's filming on his phone.
So it's like I'm a boomer.
Yeah.
You can't teach an old dog new tricks.
The whole Baptiste portion of the plot, it's all padding. It was just a way to introduce this thumb drive that had all of the people that I guess had taken payoffs. Mm-hmm. And I don't understand the concept of the whole, we're going to trade the thumb drive for a person, because couldn't they have just copied all the information on the thumb drive?
You would think that there's more than just the one copy.
Right. Like, here's the copy. I know it was odd that he trades the copy for his daughter to that crippled drug lord guy or whatever. I don't know why he couldn't just make a copy of it. So, yeah, here you go. Here's the information, but we still have incriminating evidence on you. What's the big deal? I don't...
Mm-hmm.
It's almost like the genie's out of the bottle at that point.
I will say the best actor, too, it was two good actors. So Jason Momoa did a good job as a bad guy. And I thought Christian Slater, this was his first film on the big screen, I think, since maybe Hard Rain, they were saying? Or even, or not Hard Rain, something came out in 2005. But it had been about 7 or 8 years since he had a big screen release. So this was supposed to be kind of his little mini comeback.
Who did he piss off?
I don't know. Because he's fine. He was good in this film.
He's too good.
He sang like a canary, man. It didn't take much for him to spill it.
Do you want to play a little bit of that, of him singing in here?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a great scene. It's actually, and yeah, I thought he did a good job.
After the Eyes Wide Shut party at his mansion?
Yeah, they had the Eyes Wide Shut party, which was, let's just show boobies for no reason. Yeah.
There's got to be a method to it. It's psychology. You get him to lower his guard. One sentence at a time. Build a rhythm.
Oh, yeah, another brilliant scene by Sung Kang playing good cop.
Just let me handle it, okay?
Okay, so he says, just let me handle it, okay? I didn't understand this because he says, let me handle it, okay? And he tells Sly's character to shut up with a little hand motion there. But then Sly talks to Christian Slater first. It didn't make sense to me.
I had the feeling they were doing the good cop, bad cop bit, but it...
Well, they did. Like, Quan was asking him questions, and he wasn't singing. And as Sly said, if you break a couple bones, he'll be singing you a Who concert or whatever. Like, what?
But you take a shrewd lawyer type like Christian Slater's character, and he's not going to fall for that bullshit.
No, it was just a way to show that he tried to do it the law way, the cop way, and then, of course, Sly has to come in with break some bones type ways. But let's just get to a little bit of when Christian Slater's breaks. It's pretty good acting on his part for a thankless role.
What do you want?
The tall guy that killed Lewis.
Tall guy, yeah, it's Keegan.
Yeah, what's his deal?
He's FFL, ex-mercenary, Central Africa, West Lebanon. Now he contracts out to Robert Nakomo Morel.
Why'd you set me and Lewis up?
Morel didn't want to take any chance that Greeley's death could be traced back to us. Greeley was investigating Morrell in D.C. Evidence of his payoffs to congressmen, senators, judges. Thought he could blackmail Morrell. Didn't realize who he was fucking with. That's it. No more. Look, I don't want to get myself killed here.
I'm gonna blow your leg off.
Whoa, okay. I'll tell you about Morrell. He swindled a ton of money out of West Africa. He started out buying up a lot of cheap real estate here in the city using other people's names, and he bribed his way into some big government contract to redevelop the area. Look, I mean, this city is up for grabs, always has been. We're just taking our share. That's it. This goes.
I thought that little moment there, Slater's performance, like you said there, Craig, wasted, because he actually he did a great job. It just shows you how good of an actor he is. The way he squealed and broke there, that's good acting.
That scene is nothing more than like an exposition dump, but the way he does it, it's good. It's convincing.
And I was actually listening. I was engaged to his when he's delivering all this information. I was actually listening. I wasn't bored.
Yeah, and it connects a lot of the dots that we have.
I did want to mention in terms of exposition dumps, I don't know how you guys felt about it. The voiceover in this movie was completely unnecessary and just it explained things that didn't need to be explained, and it tried to give this hard edge or something, but voiceovers are always so hard to manage, and Goodfellas is one of the only movies that actually pulls it off. Goodfellas, Taxi Driver, I mean, I can't really think of many movies where it just doesn't seem like it's just a way to sort of relay information that the director or screenwriter can't find out a way to do naturally.
Rounders has great voiceover.
Oh, yeah. Even like at the end of this where Juan ended up leaving me out of his report. 6 months later or 6 weeks later, I got a message to meet up with him for a drink. None of that was needed.
Oh, I know.
I love the classic scene of Quan walking in on a naked girl. Classic 80s.
That girl...
She was on a USA TV show, wasn't she?
There's a Netflix show. It's a chick show where she plays this wife of like some rich lawyer guy, and she's married to this other guy, but
City on the Hill?
Sex Life. Life.
Yeah, that's out right now.
And she keeps like dreaming about her ex-boyfriend who did her real good. She's naked in it a lot.
Oh,
it's like I said.
Where's the streaming?
Netflix.
Okay, copy that.
USA. Netflix USA. But she looks phenomenal in it.
Does she still have her tattoo?
No. And I don't know. She's real sexy in it.
She a whore.
It's a raunchy ass show too.
She was also what's the TV show I'm thinking of that she was on?
Oh, she was on The Rookie.
Okay, that might be what I'm thinking of. And do you also know what she was also on a key episode of The Sopranos?
Oh, and also Person of Interest. She was on Person of Interest as well. She was on an episode of The Sopranos, but I watched both Person of Interest.
You don't remember who she played in The Sopranos?
Sonia Aragon on the episode Kennedy and Heidi.
Are you guys not Sopranos people?
I've seen the series once, Craig. I loved it, but I've only seen it the one time.
Oh, wow. Okay. She played the whore in Vegas.
Oh, she was a whore.
Drink, everybody.
It's a pretty big episode of the series. I mean, it's the last season. It's after Tony kills Christopher. Spoiler alert. And he goes to Vegas and he has that revelation. And yeah, she's the whore that Christopher would go to Vegas to whore with. She's also Persian, which... Did he look like her dad?
No. I actually tried to look at her through, like, imagining that I have no idea what her background is and saying, does she look Italian to me? And not a chance. She looks Middle Eastern.
You could understand Quan confusing it and thinking that she was his mistress or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's always a big reveal. We're rightfully to think that Sly might be with that girl because in the Escape Plan 3, remember his girlfriend was 35 years his junior.
Yeah.
The scene here might be what you're talking about. If not, this is another, for our listening audience, here's another fun scene between their anti-buddy cop scene that Walter Hill was going for here between Quan and Bobo.
Oh, yeah, I think it is in that scene.
Yeah.
When we get ashore, we gotta split up for a while. Someone I gotta go meet.
Who, you got a date?
He's a cop. He's from here. You gotta go tell him what's going on.
So what about this other guy, Morrell?
Well, he'll hire our army of lawyers and fight the evidence on technical grounds. But he's still going down.
Down, is that what you call it? Down?
Yeah, down.
Down. 6 years in a country club jail, out in 2, back in business. That's my idea, going down. Going down is what happened to Lewis. All right, so you do what you got to do. I'll handle things my way.
You know what? There is no your way.
All right, here we go.
So stupid.
But you trust in the
Pulls
cop.
a gun.
Yeah, you're under arrest.
Am I really? Okay, when I do this dance again, I'll tell you what, unless you're willing to pull that trigger and put a bullet to the head, that 9 mil ain't gonna be much help.
Get out.
He did it. He said the name of the movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This was based on, like, what, French graphic novel?
A French graphic novel.
Oh, yeah.
Did we translate the title of that graphic novel?
Yeah, bullet to my head.
I saw it the other day when I was researching.
Is it really bullet to my head?
No, that's what I
No.
wanted to do watching this film.
Oh.
But look at that little fun gunplay there. The idea, like, think about it, Doug, for a second, right? Well, I mean, because you're a cop, but the idea that you just you draw your weapon on somebody, you know the rule. You don't point your weapon unless you intend to fire. Like,
Right.
he's pointed right to your face. There's a gun to your face. I like how they just casually wave their weapons at each other like they're water guns. That's not real
Right.
life. This is weapons, loaded weapons at each other's face. All right, you want to pull that gun and blow my... Come on. There's no real tension there. They're being silly. It's like they're just whipping them out. And it's playful, but it's not funny, and it's not scary, and it's not tense, so it's nothing.
Well, while we're talking about bad gunplay, I wanted to ask you, Doug. So right after this, Quan goes to meet the cop who we know is dirty, and we also know gets killed because they set it up. It's like the first thing they show us in the movie. But
Right.
guy puts a gun to Quan's head. Then Stallone shoots him through the car window. And can you sort of walk me through how dangerous all of that was for everybody involved?
And I was thinking this at the time, too. He shoots in the direction of Quan, of the guy he's trying to save. A lot of times, if you don't have a certain kind of bullet, like a hollow point bullet, that'll stay inside the body, it'll pass right through the first guy and hit the second guy.
Going through the glass, would that have affected it too?
It depends on the distance you're firing it from. I don't think glass does too much to deflect the path of a bullet, not like water would.
Okay. Seems so careless to me.
Do we want to talk about the bathtub?
It was careless.
The bathhouse scene. I think this was just after Sly got the tattoo.
I think they used a lot of this scene in the marketing materials because I remember seeing a lot of shirtless Sly pics leading up to this
You see
movie.
the tattoo picture right now, guys? I paused it there. So
Yeah, yeah.
I think this is the first time, correct me if I'm wrong, that Sly has exposed his tattoos on film to the public.
When did the Expendables come out?
2012, I think? Or 2009?
Right, because he's getting the back tattoo in that movie, isn't he?
I'm not against tattooing, of course. I don't have anything against it or for it. When I first saw these tattoos, I thought they were done for a film. Like, I thought it was body work for a film, but these are his real tattoos that he carries with him every day.
I would think that if you're going to get that kind of work and it's intricate, really well done work, you get that done in maybe your 20s or your 30s, but not in your 60s. Like, I can't imagine me getting full back work in the next 10 years.
The literal translation of the graphic novel title is Lead in the Head.
Oh, okay. Well,
Back to his tattoos. I remember when I first started getting tattoos. I don't know why I remember. Because Facebook wasn't a thing back then. I don't remember where I saw the pictures of it and stuff.
there was a lot of those movie sites like Ain't It Cool News or, you know.
maybe. He was getting like those big chest pieces that goes into the arm sleeve. And obviously I'm a fan of tattoos myself. I'm pretty covered in them. I thought it was cool back then. I was like, wow, Sly at his age is just starting to get tattooed. I was like, good for him.
I just found it surprising, like the age and stage in his life, and as an actor, because it's not that it affects your roles. I think he's at the point too where he's not really taking his shirt off as much anymore, anyway. So it's kind of like now's kind of the time to do it because you're not going to see him shirtless very much anymore. You're just not.
I thought it was cool watching this, saying we don't see him full shirt off with his tattoos on display. I thought that was cool. Plus, he is shredded in this. He looks amazing in this movie.
He does look good, and he doesn't have the crazy eyebrow yet. I guess he hadn't gotten whatever surgery resulted in the crazy eyebrow. I guess the eye lift or whatever he got. He does look good in this movie. I mean, his hair looks like a chia pet in that one scene. The scene that's recycled from, Last Blood, and then also the Statham movie that we covered a couple months ago. For some reason, Stallone just likes wiring up boathouses to blow up.
Yeah, there was a scene where he blew up his boathouse, and then he says to Quan, "Do you want to know why I wired my house up for explosives?" And they show a quick flashback scene of him doing it, and then Kwan's like, "No, I don't care," and then they don't explain why he did it. Like, it's a weird. I was like, "Okay," like we're about to start a flashback.
That was another thing that like Stallone had a hard on for. He's like, "We got to do boathouses that blow up."
Yeah.
He's used it 3 times now.
No, he also did The Specialist. That was his whole job in The Specialist, blowing things up, wiring things to explode.
This was a movie of his greatest hits. They said that when he was in the military, specialty was demolition.
Oh,
so
that's right.
There's a shout out to the Demolition Man. They show him wiring up the house. That was like that reminded me of The Specialist. Yeah,
they had to show the footage of him wiring it up. Like we couldn't figure out that he's the one that did it because he's got the detonator. Like
2-second flashback scene of him wiring his house to explode. But then there's no. You want to know why I do this? No. Okay, well, let's move on to the movie.
And they probably wasted 4 days of shooting, filming whatever nonsense they did with him in the boat wiring it up.
I've never seen a flashback interrupted before. We're like, no, we don't care. Okay, well, I guess we'll just keep going with the present tense. I have no interest in the flashback. Okay, I'll just stop telling the story.
They should have put a record scratch in at the end of it. Okay.
You were talking about the bath scene, and I think there's the bathhouse scene.
Okay, did you want any part of it?
Because... Well, no, I wanted to get your guys' take on this because Sly, earlier in the movie, he puts his gun in the glove box in front of Quan, and then as soon as he leaves the car, Quan takes the firing pin out. So then this is the gun that Stallone goes to use in the bathhouse, and the guy goes to shoot him, and, Stallone does the whole thing about, you should have checked the weight of the gun or whatever, and they have a fight. It's just a reason, excuse for them to have a fight, and then because Stallone goes to shoot him and the firing pin's taken out.
Yeah.
I guess that's like the only cop-like thing that Quan does in this movie. He's like, okay, I'm going to make it so this guy can't kill people.
Yeah, that's true, and it's supposed to be ironic. I know the firing pin's not very heavy, but the fact that Quan got the firing pin out without Sly seeing it, I don't know how that happened. Because you have to strip the weapon to get that firing pin out. You
have to completely disassemble the gun to get the firing pin out. It's not like popping the magazine and taking the slide off. That's like the inner workings.
It's the bolt. You got to take the bolt apart to take the firing pin out.
Why would a weathered hitman, an experienced hitman, just casually put his gun in the glove box like that in front of a cop? It seemed really careless. It seems like, okay, you don't want to carry the gun into wherever you're going. Like, don't put it in the glove box in front of the cop.
He's been arrested 26 times. He's not the brightest hitman in the world.
He only went to jail 4 times.
Luis loves when you do your Sly.
Can I do my Quan?
No, don't. Please don't.
No, I want to hear it, right?
Oh, no.
I mean, what did you guys think of the whole Chinese versus Korean thing? There's sort of that back and forth at one point. But then they even talk about food, and he's like, I'm Korean. That would be like saying, Italian taco or something.
I thought that was a good analogy, even though Sly's character said that's a bad analogy. I'm like, actually,
I thought it was perfect as well. It showed how absurd it was that, we both look kind of the same, but geographically we're worlds apart.
Yeah, I thought it was a great analogy, and I thought the comeback line, is that Sly's fault? Well, there's rumor is that Sly did some rewrite behind the scenes. And there's also rumors that Walter Hill, when he was done direction, Sly took over editing and directing.
So we're at the point in the film now where the daughter becomes the plot device she was intended to be. They know that Bobo and Quan have the thumb drive. They're going to do the trade where they trade the daughter for the thumb drive. And basically leads us to the climax of the film. The heroes break off, and we get the exchange.
Morale has an army there, but the only reason why Sly's character can actually now escape with his daughter is because Keegan has gone rogue and killed a lot of the army members. So now
Keegan's rightfully pissed off. So we get this absurd discussion where, Morel's thank you for the thumb drive, and then they start talking about killing Quan. I can kill Quan for you if you want, $500,000. And he's like, that's too much, $250,000. And Sly's like, done. And then that's what really sets Keegan off. Keegan's like, hey, I'm a mercenary. Why would Bobo take that contract as well?
The reason why he took it was so he could leave alive.
Okay, so he had something to do.
That's right. That was actually one of the smarter, more subtle parts of the film was...
They should have given me some big, dumb voiceover so my dumb head would have understood it.
Because I was thinking, how would Sly's character leave this situation? He has to be valuable alive. So he's...
that makes perfect sense, Ryan. I'm actually kind of mad at myself for not figuring that out.
I'll kill Quan for you, whatever the price. So you up the price to make it look like he's really serious about it. I'll kill him for you, but it's just so he could leave there alive. Yeah. That's why Keegan's like, what the hell, man? It's not about the money. And that's why Morale says, no, I don't trust people that aren't about the money.
He was also going to kill Keegan, or he was going to have Keegan killed after he got the thumb drive anyway, right?
Well, I'd imagine he'd want to clear up as many loose ends as he could if that's why he wanted to get rid of the hitman.
Yeah, I forgot who he said it to, but he specifically said, like, once I get the thumb drive or whatever, he's like, Keegan's gone.
Well, let's go right here. We can watch a little bit of it here.
$250.
Done. Where's my daughter?
She's in the building. Don't worry. She's currently unharmed.
I want to see Lisa. You got a problem with that? Are you guys fucking with me or what?
No problem whatsoever. Bring her in.
Wait a second. Hey, you don't have to do this.
When I want your opinion, I'll buy you a brew.
So that's the first indication there that things are falling apart. Keegan's like, I don't like this guy. He hands over the flashlight, gets his daughter back, says he'll do it for $500,000, and then Keegan, right here, we can go...
And a dirty cop gets killed, too.
Yeah, here's the turncoat situation. So Quan's set up now to film it all.
The camera's got a great microphone.
Yeah.
Yes, sir. You don't seem to be very happy, Mr. Keegan.
You're treating this Jimmy Bobo way too good. Maybe you forgot. 4 of our operatives got killed by this guy last night. You care about them?
Well, they're mercenaries like you. They take their chances.
$250 is as much as you paid me.
Well, Mr. Bobo had leverage. You don't.
I've got plenty of leverage. Mr. Town.
All right, look, you don't have an argument with me.
I like that.
This is my world, son of a bitch! I'll kill you! How dare you!
He laughs at him.
Always knew never to trust a man who doesn't care about money.
He did care about money, though. Like, that's what I don't understand.
Yeah,
I didn't understand it. He said it earlier to Christian Slater, where it made more sense, but here it didn't make sense because he specifically addressed the money situation.
Yeah, so the big ending of the film, and this is the thing that everyone was talking about, of course, even before the movie kind of came out, was the tease about the big axe fight between Stallone and Momoa. Pretty good choreography.
I'm sure somebody's probably put this whole scene on YouTube. Just go watch that.
Yeah, I agree. It's the best part of the film, and it's one of Sly's very rare Sly fight sequences where we see him use a handheld weapon, other than like Rambo 3.
There's also a pretty clear stuntman moment, too.
How dare you?
Ready for another round?
I said I was going to kill you.
Yeah. It's kind of fun, isn't it? Just you and me. 2 professionals. Only one gets away. Come on. Look at that.
He reads off the little plaque there about is this the Chicago fire? Is that it?
I don't get
No, it's New Orleans.
No,
Why don't you guys...
I don't know what happened in 1910. Is that a big fire that happened?
Oh, I'm just saying that this movie, they make it pretty clear they're in New Orleans. I mean...
Oh, come on. Do you think Right, sorry about the Mardi Gras and about the sex party. You're right. Sorry. That sex party did have a lot of whores. But Christian Slater's character actually said that they were well taken care of. Remember that? He said they were well taken care of.
Yeah. He's good to his whores.
That's right. So anyways, they have the big axe fight. We can't play it for the sake of it doesn't do anything for the audio audience. But yes, like Craig said, go look it up on YouTube. It is the best part of the film.
He uses, Jimmy's... what was his partner's name?
Louis.
Oh,
I think it was Louis.
knife.
He uses Lewis's knife, which
That was a
kind
cool
of cool.
part. Well,
Yeah.
it was like a switchblade. He put the closed switchblade up to his neck and then pressed the button, and the blade went into his neck.
And this is really good because this is kind of like the fight between Sly and Stone Cold in the Expendables, or Sly and Van Damme in Expendables 2. When you get 2 guys that can do it, there's nothing better. I mean, it's none of this Jason Bourne bullshit where they're hiding everything and editing. These 2 guys know how to work. close, make hits look real. I love this body work he's doing on Keegan there. But, just two professionals, two physical guys that know how to do physical shit on screen, and it's fairly well shot. There's no nonsense editing in this scene.
It is the best part of the film by far. It's one of Sly's best fight sequences in a film.
The choreography of this whole sequence was incredible. Always the way he handles the axe in the beginning.
Yeah, I forgot to mention that.
Around,
yeah,
that was amazing.
So Momoa, does he have any kind of training in this situation? Does he martial arts training, or because he handled that stick twirling amazing?
Well, he might have learned in
Game of Thrones, and then he also did Conan. I wonder, was Conan before or after this?
I think it was before, but you're right. That's right. So you would have had some swordmanship training. So he probably just utilized that for the axe swing because it looked amazing.
Yeah, it was good.
And I like how
even Sly would have looked good.
Yeah, Sly would look good. He only did a couple punches. I like how Sly's character and Sly himself. Yeah, you got these two men and they got these big pipes on them, and yeah, it's probably one of the like I said, it's one of the better fight sequences Sly's ever done. That's hand to hand in all of his film career for sure.
I would put it probably if I was doing a top three. Seriously, it's what the Stone Cold one, the Van Damme one, and this.
Oh yeah, good point. Yeah,
Sly's action in this was dodging axe swings and stuff, and his age, if you want to put his face into a fight scene, you probably have to do more of that than him delivering blows. But I thought it was really good.
Yeah. As much as this film had a lot of flaws and a lot of missteps, and it should have had Thomas Jane in it, they should have had a darker tone throughout. They should have just made it gritty. I don't know why Sly didn't want that. Well, that's why the other director got fired. It was too gritty and dark. Sly didn't want a dark tone. He wanted a little bit of a 48 Hours type tone. I don't know why he's so afraid to go dark.
Yeah,
Louis says Momoa didn't become Cal of the Dothraki by playing cards.
Very good point. Very good point.
True.
Would you recommend this film then to our Sly listeners to watch?
Before we make that determination, I want you to play that final scene with them in the bar.
Yeah, absolutely.
After the 6 weeks, and he gets the.
Okay, here we go. Yeah. Here's the narration that Craig likes so much.
I guess Quan figured he owed me. 6 weeks later, he sent me a message about maybe having a drink. I thought I smelled a cop. Guess who's late? I'm reading about you in the paper. Looks like you're quite the hero. Glad everything's working out okay for you.
Except for the 2 holes in my shoulder, 2 weeks in the hospital, and a month in rehab. I'll be sure to repay the favor someday.
So that's what you came down here to tell me?
Actually, came down to tell you a couple things.
All right, shoot.
First, I decided to get a tattoo.
Really?
Yeah, Lisa came down to the hospital to visit me a lot. We got to know each other. Actually, we got to really know each other.
Really? Know each other. That's nice. I got a big going.
Here's your fortune cookie. I'm not going to come after you for anything you did in the past. But you break the law again, and I hear about it, well, you're going down.
What?
Real tough guy shit.
That'll be the day.
They lost a great opportunity to do Incredible Hulk-style series for TV. Every week, Juan goes to a different city, because he hears about a crime that Jimmy Bobo committed.
Well, that's just it. Is there that many hits in New Orleans, or does he do hits outside of New Orleans? I don't understand.
Let's not forget one other point. Quan is a Washington, D.C. cop. He doesn't have any jurisdiction outside of the state.
That's what I meant to say. That sorry. Yes, right. He's even out of state. So that's what I don't understand is how is he chasing down the crimes of Bobo?
Yeah.
What jurisdiction does he have? He wouldn't have any.
He wouldn't outside of Washington, D.C. Also, another thing that I noted that kind of bugged me throughout this movie is he says he's from WDCPD, which is Washington, D.C. PD. That's not a real thing. D.C. police are called D.C. Metro.
Okay.
And that's the city district. I don't know what Washington, D.C. it's not a city. It's not a state. I don't know what the hell. It's a district, right? That took me out of the movie, too.
Don't they refer to it as Crescent City PD as well or something? They never say actually New Orleans.
You're right. They don't say New Orleans, do
It's
they?
like Crescent City or something.
Yeah, you're right.
So a couple of things to note before we close here. Walter Hill said about this film, he says, we're not trying to break new ground. We're trying to be entertaining. We're trying to be entertaining within a format that's familiar. There's a kind of ice skating that goes on where you must let the audience know that you're not taking yourself too seriously. But at the same time, the jokes are funny, but the bullets are real. The jeopardy has to be real. And when it gets outlandish, there needs to be no drift into parody, self-parody, maybe inevitable for old directors. He skirted that self-parody, yeah. This was the worst opening of Sly's career in 32 years up to that point.
Mm-hmm.
Just saying something.
But we should note, though, guys, that this movie did get an award. Does everyone want to guess?
Razzie.
Well, he got nominated for Razzie, but Sly the same year got nominated for 3 Razzies. For Escape Plan
Funny,
Part
man.
1, Grudge Match, and this film. Come on, why?
Yeah.
He's a Razzie darling. They love him.
But he lost, though, this year. You know who he lost to? Jaden Smith for After Earth.
Well, yeah.
It's terrible. It's just terrible.
If you want to buy the soundtrack, the soundtrack was produced by Hans Zimmer. It was composed by Steve Mazzaro, and it has 15 tracks. You can get that on your local iTunes. Yeah. Anything else there, guys? Speaking of the soundtrack, I hated the soundtrack. Absolutely. I know it's New Orleans, and I know it's jazz.
It was like a Geico commercial. It was like a Geico commercial for motorcycle insurance.
Yeah, I don't like that jazzy type music. I just don't. I don't like that for films. That do. Yeah. Which actually a little bit of a tease here. I'm recording tomorrow with you again, Doug, for Commando, and the soundtrack for Commando is absolute dog shite. So it's
did you guys also make the connection that dude ripped himself off? It's the same exact score from 48 Hours.
I did notice that, Craig, actually.
I can't wait to hear you guys talk about Commando. I love that movie so much.
Great. Join us tomorrow, 7 a.m. recording.
Come on, guys. I'm taking my gummy tonight and getting a good night's sleep.
Well, we'll be live at Discord if you wake up.
Yeah, thank you. I'll probably be 2 hours in bed at that point.
Copy that.
No, this movie is a good example, and we kind of talked about it throughout this movie coverage and most of our coverage, this is another example of Sly being his own worst enemy, sabotaging himself for whatever reason. This movie really, it's another piece of evidence that you'd submit in court about, just the landmines that Sly's put down in front of himself.
It's also an utterly forgettable movie. I watched it on, I think, Monday or Tuesday. I watched it. I kind of let it marinate for a couple of days. And by Wednesday, I completely forgot most of the beats of the movie. I forgot certain actors that were in it. It just, nothing resonated or stuck with me in this. That's the sign of a bad movie.
Yeah, I just hate the fact that the tattoo matching was just reminded.
It's really bugging you.
Well, it was the exact same tattoo on the whore shoulder as it was on Bobo's whore's daughter shoulder. It was the exact same. Anyways, guys, as always, it's always a pleasure. Why don't you guys plug your shows before we close? I'll plug mine. I host It's a Long Road, the Rambo Series podcast, and one more round of the Rocky Series podcast on this feed. Or if you're listening to this on a standalone feed by chance, check us out in the last of the Action Heroes Podcast Network, where this show and many others are on about all our favorite action stars. Doug, when are you going to give us Rocky 3? Let's go.
I'm getting married in 2 weeks. After that, I'm going to have a lot more time, I promise. I'll talk to Ryan off camera about this. I kind of been waiting in the wings for Jay to pick up and, start scheduling, helping me schedule episodes again. And I'm getting absolutely no response from him.
All right.
Kind of feels familiar.
Either you hire Craig as a co-host, he's a great go-to guy, or Matt Marchand, whoever you want there. So.
Oh, yeah. Soon.
Okay, good.
Yeah. Congrats again, Doug, on those nuptials, and
Thank you.
Terribly sorry I can't be there. It's just a whole bunch of different factors led to it.
Money and time. So it is money. If I had the money and I had the time, I'd be there in a heartbeat. Mm-hmm. So
I figured it was a long shot anyway, but I wanted to extend the invite to.
No, the invite was very nice.
We will all meet at some point. In terms of me, I just want to plug the network. There's amazing things going on in this network. Super proud of what Ryan has accomplished. He had a vision, he executed it, and he's continued to execute it. Every time I open up my podcast app, every time I open up Pocket Casts and see the feed updated with amazing, amazing shows with incredibly creative people, it just makes me feel good because we're all part of that community. And even though I don't contribute as much as I used to, it feels great to be part of something like that. If you do at all want to listen to podcasts I've done in the past, or even music I've made in the past 2 years, the best way to do that is just to go to Twitter, to my Twitter profile. It's Mr. Craig Cohen. That's Mr. with an MR. I have a link in my profile to everything I've done. There's video projects, there's podcasts, there's 2 full-length instrumental albums, an instrumental EP album I did, and a whole bunch of Rick James, Eddie Murphy Party All the Time gifs.
That's true.
Please check it out if you're so inclined. But like I said, this network is enough to keep you busy. And Ryan, I'm not bullshitting when I say it. I'm super proud of what you've done, man.
Oh, thanks. Very kind, guys. And as always, it's a pleasure doing this recording with you two. It's always a highlight for me, and I think we just nail it every time. So I'll be sad when the Sly films end, but I think I got a couple ideas that we could do afterwards.
Money Plane.
Well, yeah, well, Money Plane would
Money
go on
Plane.
the Last of the Action Hero feed. That will go on that pocket. So definitely we can do that one next if you guys want. We'll talk offline. But Doug, best of luck for your marriage. We'll talk tomorrow for Commando. So.
By the way, did you guys get the Easter egg on the wedding invitation? The Rocky Easter egg?
Well, remind me, but there was a quote from
yeah,
Rocky.
It was right out of Rocky's poem.
Yeah.
That he read to Adrian.
What do you mean? Did I get the Easter egg? It was a quote from the Rocky 2 poem. Like, what?
Well, it was kind of hidden.
No, that's not hidden. It was written on the invitation.
It was like on the back cover of it. I didn't know.
That's not an Easter egg. That's on the invitation. That's literally in my face. It's the first thing I read. An Easter egg is hidden in the corner somewhere. What? Anyway, it's a beautiful invitation.
Yes.
Okay, you got the Easter egg. It's not an Easter egg.
It's not Google Easter egg, okay, and come back to me, okay? That's not an.
You better cut this part out.
No, nothing.
And thank you, Luis. Luis, it's Luis, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
for hanging out with us and your comments. I know Doug dropped off a little early, but you guys always make these. Donald.
No, I stuck it out for the long haul.
No, that's one of the things I really love about since we've moved to Discord for these recordings is, to get sort of that live interaction and also like instant validation for some of the jokes that we drop or don't. But either way, it's a cool way to get sort of live feedback to something that's going to be released in a couple weeks.
Craig's handling his dog right now, I think, off camera. So.
They're fighting.
I see. Okay.
They've been home alone all day, so they're anxious to get some couch time.
All right, guys. As always, it's a pleasure. And like I said, look forward to the new Arnold podcast that Doug and Seiko are doing. And I'm guessing on that podcast, we'll stand by for a future release of that. We'll be doing Commando. So I can't wait for that. All right.
All right, fellas.
All right, guys. Take care.
We'll see you. We'll talk soon.
Enjoy.